This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. We do so wish that we could be hosting this event in person, but we continue to do our part and follow the guidelines the Central District Health has put in place as we try to control the spread of COVID-19 in our communities. But first, allow me to tell you a little bit about an in-person event that we are having on August 21st. The Chamber of Commerce will be hosting our 18th annual golf tournament. This golf tournament will be held at Shadow Valley Golf Course this year. The event will be a little bit different in light of COVID, but we'll still have a great event planned for those attending. The event this year features tee times instead of shotgun start. Individual carts will be provided to those that request, and contactless check-in will be provided. All of your on-course activities will be the same. If you can't social distance on a golf course, then where can you? We'll be hosting a virtual award ceremony on Monday, August 24th at 11 a.m. So be sure to tune in for that fun event as well. There still are a few team spots available, so please register your team today. Also, as a reminder, keep Meridian healthy and open for business. Stay home if you're sick, maintain social distancing of 6 feet or more, wear a mask in public if you cannot maintain the proper social distance, and wash your hands thoroughly and frequently. There are Meridian businesses that are taking your health and safety very seriously. Please do your part and support them and keep Meridian healthy and open for business. Very pleased to have TDS Fiber sponsor this two-part series. Representing TDS Fiber today is Scott Mcdonald. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm going to pass over the presentation to Scott at this time, and he'll tell you a little bit about TDS Fiber and what they're offering in our market. There you go, Scott.
All right, again, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another start of our beautiful day, right? Well, my name is Scott Mcdonald. I've been with TDS for 5 years. I come up from St. George, Utah. I am from Nampa, Idaho, so it's nice to be back. I've been with them in the commercial sales for almost a year now. I started out as a technician. Nice thing is with the COVID, we didn't really get affected too heavily. Our business solutions that we sell to our customers are the same that obviously we use. So once we were told to work remotely, it was rather easy. Most of us had our services already. Other than that, like I said, we only needed to have the right tools, computers, phones, take back, because some of the stuff we do is business solutions, giving internet access, making sure we have high speeds up to 1 gig here in the Treasure Valley. We also have the dedicated internet access up to 10 gigs. Our voice services connect your equipment, whether it's your analog phone lines, what we're used to. We have 7 free features. We don't pay for long distance or anything like that. We also have our voice over IP. I've got 2 different systems on that. For the smaller businesses, 4 phones or less. For the larger businesses, makes it real nice for having the remote from home. Also, I have the Metro Ethernet, so if you have a home office in Boise and satellite offices, say Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell, I can have those all connected as well. I'll only touch a little bit on our TV for businesses, our hotels, anything like that. We have not introduced that just yet, so that is coming soon. Also, at the same time, we have a beautiful reward program going on. Anybody that you refer over to us helps put a little extra money in your pocket. Just want to thank you, and if there's any questions, please feel free to send me an email, call me up. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Other than that, I'll look forward to meeting each and every one of you in person, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you to TDS Fiber for sponsoring this 2-part series this month. The Meridian Chamber of Commerce is led by some amazing board members representing some of the most established and visible businesses and organizations in Meridian. During the spring, and as an events of the situation unfolded with the coronavirus and the measures that were being taken, The board members of the chamber not only helped guide the chamber's response, but these individuals had their own organizations to manage. Everyone was impacted in some way by COVID-19, some more dramatically than others. Everyone had to adapt, pivot, and embrace change. Our board organizations were no different. This panel discussion and the one last Tuesday is allowing us to hear from these organizations on what they're doing to cope with the impact of COVID-19. We have several questions that we'll ask these panelists, and if time allows, we will allow questions from the attendees. You can enter your questions for the panelists anytime during the chat feature of the GoToMeeting, and we will get to those at the end of the session. Featured on our panel today is Chris Miller with Empire Title, Cheryl Adams with PKG, Michelle Glaze with Idaho Power, John Jensen with RC Willey, Deneen Tay with Zion's Bay, Joey Hale with United Heritage, and Tiffany Quillisi with Roaring Springs Water Park. Thank you all for participating in our discussion today. Let's get right to the questions and the discussion. So the first question is, how was your organization impacted at the beginning of the pandemic? Specifically, was your forward-facing operations forced to close? And if you did, how did you adapt and continue services to your clients? I'm going to begin with Chris. He's kind of first on my list here. So Chris, if you want to kind of answer, give me your thoughts on that question. How was your organization impacted, and how did you adapt and continue services to your customers?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem at the beginning was the scare of unknowing exactly how serious this was going to be and how it was going to impact the health of the team. We made a huge investment at the beginning of 2019 in all new server equipment, laptop computers for the team. So the nice thing about doing that, not knowing what was coming this year, was immediately I was able to send more than half of the team home to work from home, all those that were in a production, non-customer facing role. So it was just kind of a nice investment that we made that we saw a return on right away, and helped get people out of the office at home and feeling like they could continue to work. And back in March, there were people really worried that they were going to be dying from this. The other thing on the customer facing, we've been able to stay open the whole time. I would say it's nice that it's allowed some technology that was in the wings to be pushed through in our real estate space with online mobile notarization laws with the counties and with lenders. So that's been nice to be able to offer those services. But everybody coming in for closings, we were putting masks on and doing everything we could to keep our employees safe, and quickly adopted what we call our curbside closings, where people stay in their car. We bring documents out with masks on, and nonstop hand washing and sanitizing, and everything that we hand a customer is either new in a wrapper as far as pins go, or a sanitized board to sign on.
Chris, thank you. Cheryl, next to you, your organization, how was it impacted at the beginning of the pandemic, and how did you adapt?
So one thing with PKG, because we're a medical device manufacturing company, we actually had a lot of our customers that required us and sent letters letting us know that due to the manufacturing of the medical devices that we were considered essential. So they required us to stay open. So we had to implement a lot of internal things to be able to then make sure that our employees were safe. And due to kind of the manufacturing, we had to have employees be present and at work and on site to be able to fulfill those obligations that we had. We did, one of the things I think we were faced with the most is making sure that our employees, that we had them, sanitized and face masks and protected, set kind of 6 feet apart, as well as, a lot of employees were scared to come to work. So we had to look at, could we go ahead and keep, could we make it to where their job could be from home, and what did that look like? And we, one of the things that we decided to do was kind of do alternate shifts to kind of keep and be able to have some of that social distancing, was to then be able to have people work shifts. Some people come in on, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Some come in Tuesday and Thursday, and kind of work around their schedule and provide as much safety for them and make sure that they felt comfortable.
Thank you. Michelle, Idaho Power was definitely an essential service, but how was your organization impacted, and how did you adapt and continue those services to customers and clients?
For us, safety is and always has been our first and foremost focus, and it drives all of our decisions. We had to evaluate the best way to keep people safe, not just our employees, but everyone around us, our customers and community. And to do so, we made the decision to have about half of our workforce work remotely, while the other half remained in the field, which they are still in the field. Recognizing our crews who've been out there every day in, day out, not only responding to emergencies, which certainly we've had a few storms during COVID, but obviously doing maintenance and working and continuing to do new business. We weren't forced to close, obviously, because we are essential business, but we did close our business off. We did have to adapt and be flexible, working in new ways, different ways, but mostly it was business as normal. We understand that, the importance of the service that we provide for all of our customers, and whether it's the families that are home right now, educating their children, to all of those in the healthcare system that are meeting the needs of our community. It's our responsibility to make sure we continue to provide reliable service that people are expecting.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Jensen, I know RC Willie, discussions with you, there was some, back and forth at the beginning. How was your organization impacted at the beginning of the pandemic? I know you had some challenges whether you were essential or not. So share with us.
Yes, thank you for that. As a retailer, sometimes you have to justify yourself as being essential, and we do obviously sell some essential items for people's homes. Mattresses and appliances make your home safe and comfortable, and we were deemed as an essential partner. So what we did is we did limit the amount of, we have a big store, easily socially distancing inside of our store, but we went to a by appointment only model, and we've never done that before. We shortened our hours, and we got on our website, and we actually put a phone number on the front door saying that if you'd like to make an appointment, that way we could make sure that there wasn't a ton of people in the store at one time, and we had somebody and we could spend as much time as we could with that individual, maintaining social distancing. And so we did go by appointment only, and we knew that we were going to see a decrease in traffic, probably a good 70% less, 75% less traffic through our store than normal. But we did it to keep our associates safe and to keep our customers safe, but we still did a lot of business. We have a robust internet capability. We changed a little bit and went to contactless pickup on our customer pickup area, where they just call a number and we bring out their merchandise, and we don't have to contact with the customer, which is great. And then we also implemented some deliveries, some garage drop-off shipments that we did for free during that time, so we could get product out there. We didn't go into customers' homes for a few weeks there until later on, but we had to make some adjustments, but we did stay open, and we were able to serve, and we still did quite a bit of business as customers were wanting freezers like crazy. It was like they all decided they needed to stockpile food, and we sold hundreds, if not thousands, of freezers in about a 6-week period in our company. So thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Deneen, Zions Bank, tell us a little bit about how your organization was impacted at the beginning, and what did you do, kind of the forward-facing operations?
You bet. So effective March 17th, to reduce COVID spread, we did shut down our lobbies and went to a drive-through service only type model. Of course, there are some essential in-person services that we still had to offer, and those were handled by appointment only. A majority of our non-branch staff quickly transitioned to working remotely from home. And again, in terms of keeping our clients and our employees safe, we instructed our employees to wear gloves and to do hourly cleaning of those high-touch surfaces like ATMs, drive-through tubes, those kinds of high-touch areas. We also encouraged our customers to really utilize banking via mobile banking, online banking, and full-service ATMs. But certainly as relationship officers, we still kept ourselves available via phone, teleconference, and when necessary, in-person appointments as well. And currently, we still have modified hours. We are open drive-through 9 to 5, our lobby 1 to 5, with the premise that between 9 and 1, for those customers that are considered or feel that they're at high risk, they perhaps will be more comfortable coming in an environment where it's by appointment only and there's certainly less traffic. So that's kind of what we've done at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you, Deneen. Next, we have United Heritage. Joey, maybe share with us a little bit about your role at United Heritage. United Heritage is a board organization, a platinum level member of the chamber. Share with us your role and maybe what your organization, how it was impacted at the beginning of the pandemic.
Sure. So my role is Chief Risk Officer. So about early February, we actually stood up our response team as part of our business continuity program, which rolls under my responsibility. So we had a cross-functional team that started planning out exactly how we were going to address this. We implemented safety and hygiene protocols pretty early, and we also implemented social distancing in our buildings very early on as well. Probably to some people's question mark, but it proved itself out. And then when March hit and we started to see the closures coming, we were able to keep our offices open because insurance is considered an essential service. Our main business lines are property and casualty and life insurance. And as you can imagine, those are important, especially in the times of a pandemic. But with that in mind, we also wanted to prioritize our employee and community health, and we transitioned rather quickly to over 75% of our workforce going remote. And this was a traditionally in-office staff, so for many of our employees, it was the first time that they had done this. And so we mobilized pretty quickly. Luckily, we had done some investment in technology in the last couple of years, especially around cybersecurity. That allowed us to do this quickly and safely. Cybersecurity risk has increased over the last several months, so it's one of the areas that we've been trying to focus on to protect not only the company, but the data that we have from our customer base. We also adapted our phone system over so that our customer service was seamless between work or home. So we were able to leverage a soft phone where you didn't actually have to have the hard phone in person to be able to service the customers. And the other thing that we did as part of that safety protocol is we actually canceled all essential business travel, And in the insurance industry, we're very much an in-person, face-to-face sort of business model. And so going from meeting with agents and brokers and customers in person, we quickly adapted to leveraging online collaboration tools, implementing different online solutions such as e-signature and e-pay solutions that have been adopted or are in the process of being adopted right now. So that's what we've taken into our plan to date.
Thank you, Joey. And finally, Tiffany Quillison with Roaring Springs, Wahoos, and Pins. Tiffany, your organization was very much impacted at the beginning of the pandemic, and you kind of went through some stages. Can you tell us a little bit about how that worked out for you? You know, your forward-facing operations forced to close initially and so forth.
Yeah, Wahoo's and our new Galaxy Event Center were forced to close from late March through mid-May. Wahoo's outdoor attractions and pins were authorized to open at the beginning of stage 2 on May 18th. And then the water park was given approval to open, as well as Wahoo's indoor attractions, on May 30th. We implemented extensive safety plans to keep our guests and employees safe. I think we were among the first in the Treasure Valley to take temperatures of all employees and all guests, which encountered some opposition initially. But since then, we have received so many compliments from our guests about all of the extensive safety measures that we have in place. We started out, of course, requiring face coverings for all employees. And then since then, with the new orders, all guests are required to wear masks as well, except when engaging in water activities. We also limited the capacities of our biggest pools, the Wave Pool, the Endless River, and Barefoot Bay Kids Pool, to 50%. We have not limited the overall capacity of the parks because they sit on 30 acres, and so there's plenty of room for social distancing within the parks. Roaring Springs has had a fairly successful season as people have a comfort level with being outside. Wahoo's has struggled more with indoor attractions, and the Galaxy Event Center is definitely the hardest hit. It seats up to 500 for dining, and with the rule that no gatherings of more than 50 can occur, obviously, that segment of our business is a very hard hit. But our businesses are really strong. We have, reserves. The businesses can support each other. And so we just are doing our best and providing a lot of family fun, even through this really challenging time.
So all of you have talked a little bit about what was the impact on your workforce in the early stages. But can you tell us a little bit of what you've learned about your workforce with the changes that you've implemented? Tiffany, we'll come back to you. What have you learned about your workforce?
Well, Roaring Springs and Wahoo's are one of Meridian's largest employers. At the height of our season, we have about 700 employees. And all of that staff was laid off except for our management team when Wahoo's was forced to close. And now we are in a similar position that we usually are at this time of year, with struggling to keep enough staff as kids go back to college and things like that. My sales team has been the hardest hit. I had 9 employees on my group sales team, and I have lost 4 of those positions and don't see any of those coming back anytime in the near future, just because group business virtually doesn't exist. But what we've been so impressed with is our workforce is just so dedicated. From day one, they have worn their masks faithfully, even when working out in the heat. This summer, one of our lifeguards won the Golden Guard Award, which is given to the top 1% of lifeguards worldwide, and our park has never received that before. So even during these really challenging times, our management team and our employees have just risen to the occasion to keep our guests safe and provide them with a chance to come out and just have some much needed fun.
Thank you. Joey, what has United Heritage learned about their workforce with the changes that you've implemented?
Well, I think the main thing that we've recognized is that we have a highly resilient workforce. As I mentioned, we are traditionally, or have been, in the office in the past, and for the majority of our employees to shift to an environment they've never worked in before, they've really risen to the challenge. And we actually see, we've done 2 pulse surveys of our employees, both at 60 days into the situation as well as 120 days, that they have an appetite for more change, and they're the best source of identifying those opportunities for us to improve and get better, and they're the ones coming forward with solutions. So I think those 2 components have, they're giving us an opportunity to learn from this situation and come out of it even better. And I think the key thing for our employee base, one of the main reasons they love working for the company is our culture. And culture is really hard to do when you're remote, unless you put some practices in place to manage through it. And so that's one of the things that we've tried to really reinforce, is that connectivity with our organization, no matter where we sit. And so with increased communications, we've done HR-led activities. We've even had food bank donation matches in our communities that we operate in, so that our employees can feel connected not only to the organization, but to the communities in which they live. And I think those are the components that we've really seen come through with our employee base as we've gone through this situation.
Thank you. Deneen, Zions Bank, what have they learned about their workforce with the changes you've implemented?
I really echo a lot of things that Joey just shared. I would say that we've learned that we can be flexible, certainly resilient and adaptable when we have to. About 70% of our workforce right now is working remotely, and our team is seemingly doing this with still high standards of productivity and collaboration. So things are going well on that front. In addition, we added tools that allow managers to better communicate and lead their teams, and adapted to changes needed to kind of safely interact with our clients. Of course, we have the plexiglass shields, the face masks, the cleaning supplies, and those types of protocols in place.
Okay. John, RC Willey workforce. A lot of people working there. What have you learned about your workforce with the changes?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I've got 275 employees, and unfortunately our business model, being in retail, there's no such thing as working from home, really. You got to be here, you got to be able to interact with customers. We've got, of course, we've got our internet sales and so forth. So when it first started, we had to, with a reduction in traffic through our store, I put about 60% of my staff on a paid 1 month leave. We just sent them home and paid them, just to get them out of harm's way and to not have too many things here. After that month, we had to make some decisions as a company, and we decided to, we brought back a lot of them, but then we had to furlough many of our associates, and we put them on a furlough. And while they were on furlough, we, as a company, we paid all of their insurance. So we kept their insurance in force, and they didn't have to pay anything. So while they were out for an additional, till the end of July, we were told them we'd pay their insurance. And so about halfway through July, we as a company had to decide, whether or not we could bring more people back, or if we would actually have to lay anybody off. And this is a credit to the great community that we live in. I did not have to lay a single associate off, and I was the only RC Willey store in all of our chain that did that. And we have probably the most employees, because we do a full delivery operation and a receiving operation right here in the Treasure Valley. And so, as a credit to our community and the robust business climate and people moving here, I didn't have to lay anybody off. And so, what I learned about my workforce is that they're loyal. And even through this time, there was a few people that didn't work for almost 3 months. They did get some compensation through that, except for when they were on the furlough period, and they were loyal, and they were excited and grateful to come back to work. And so, if anything, it's good to have a good workforce that believes in the cause you're doing, or the culture you have. So they wanted to continue to work for us. So that's what I've got about that one.
Thanks, John. Michelle, are you still with us? I think I saw you still on there.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. So what did Idaho Power learn about their workforce with the changes you've implemented?
Obviously, like everyone else, the employees have been so adaptable. I know everybody on this panel and most people out there have had to adapt in some way. It definitely hasn't been easy. Whether you're working out in the field or working remotely, I think for us, just keeping that strong safety culture and just doing our best just to keep everyone around us and each other safe. We did implement quite a few tools, as many of you probably have as well, that have allowed us to facilitate our work. Just finding new ways to communicate it differently. I would have to say personally, I definitely, what I've learned is just how much you miss your community and all the people that you're so used to being able to reach out and give a hug and just, just spending time with them. I think that that's taken its toll on a lot of people. And I just feel like as far as moving forward, just focusing on staying safe and trying to keep others safe.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl, what have you learned about the PKG workforce with everything that you've implemented?
So kind of go off of what other people are saying. I think, our employees were definitely resilient. We unfortunately, due to, even though our clients and our customers had requested for us to stay open, we still saw a big hit and a big push out to a lot of our customer base, because they just weren't, a lot of our customers had shifted to starting to build ventilators and other things. So we kind of moved in that same progression, that we were able to pivot alongside with our employees, fully support and start designing and manufacturing face masks, which they were, the employees were really excited to be able to stay working at full capacity and be able to pivot in that way. I think the biggest challenge that PKG faced was with having, kind of rotating schedules, some people working from home, is really keeping that everybody engaged and everybody on the same page. So we really ramped up our Zoom calls, our team meetings, our manager meetings, so that way we continued to work with the communication and everybody was on the same page, and being able to really stay connected. That was, the thing that I think we faced with most with our employees, is just making sure that we were all engaged and still being able to move forward. And we were able to bring everybody back at the end of June, people that we had furloughed, and be able to get back to full manufacturing at that point, which all the employees were super excited about. And we're grateful, and I think that we had a lot of support. We unfortunately had several employees come down with COVID, and so we had a little bit of difficulty just going through, and we have a large facility, making sure everything stayed sanitized, that people still continued to feel safe, even though we had some positives. So that was, a big learning lesson, but also the employees really came together and really supported one another. We gave vacation, and I don't know if everybody heard that accident on the river, that some people had gotten hurt and one person was paralyzed. Those were actually PKG employees. And so, not only did we have COVID, but we also had an accident with 4 of our employees. And so everybody came together and really pulled together as a family, and that's part of PKG's culture, is that family unity, and gave personal vacation for those employees who both had COVID as well as who were in that accident. And that was really great to see that everybody pulled together during some of these trying times.
Thank you. Chris, the employees of Empire Title, what have you learned about that workforce with the things that you've implemented and changes?
Yeah, I would echo some of what Cheryl said. Definitely, I've learned that they need a lot of communication, especially working from home and remotely. So anytime there was any kind of change to protocols here or anything that we were doing, we were making sure the entire team got that message with some constant team communication. And then also the management team here was tasked with calling and having a one-on-one conversation with every employee that worked for them, underneath them, just to let them know that we were thinking of them and catch up with them and find out how things were going, so that they felt like they were part of the team. And then I would echo the innovation and strength, but more that in my business, we have a lot of separate teams that run their own business inside of our business. And what I found was that that family culture we have here, everyone came together as a team to win and to work through this thing. And so if there was somebody that needed help or somebody that wasn't around, we had members from other teams that were jumping in to help with files and with customers. And it was amazing to see everybody has been able to come together through any adversity and work as a team at Empire. So that was nice.
Okay, excellent. Chris, I'm going to stay with you for the next question. What's one new technique or best practice your organization is putting in place to better serve customers or clients that wasn't in place before COVID that you may continue even after this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I thought about this even as I traveled through airports and wondered, are we going to wear masks on airlines for the rest of our lives now? What has happened through this pandemic that's not going away? Are we ever going to walk into a bank again? And I can tell you, I think the main thing that's come out of this is that remote online notarization, where you can sign a loan and have it notarized digitally, verify that customer. I mean, it's a great system, but to have counties accept that so that we don't have to have customers drive across town, and everybody can close in the comfort of their home and have that be acceptable with the technology that we have right now. And I think that is a good thing that has come out of this that will stay and be used more and more into the future as more people utilize technology in real estate transactions.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl, best practice or technique that wasn't in place before that PKGs may keep in place?
So I think the ongoing communication, I think that was definitely one of the things that, we will still continue to move forward. I think, also making sure that everything is sanitized on a regular basis. I think that just is good practices for other flu seasons. So we'll continue to do that. We also kind of implemented not only, we had, some outside cleaning service, but we also implemented a team, and we did a rotation with employees that kind of just did a swipe through cleaning once a week or, once every couple days. So I think we're going to also continue to implement some of those things, just, for the unforeseeable time due to, COVID, but ongoing as well.
Okay. Michelle, new technique or best practice Idaho Power put in place to better serve customers?
I believe in one of our best practices as far as in terms of serving our customers. That would have to be the flexibility that we offered our customers. Starting in March, we made a decision to suspend disconnects and payment collections because we knew at that time that there were a lot of people struggling, a lot of customers struggling and facing challenges. So that was a really significant move for us. Since then, we're resuming some of that, but even still, we continue to be very flexible with customers making payment arrangements and trying to offer more than one payment arrangement, just because we do know that most, there's so many people working from home, and that means they're not, some of them, they may be educating their kids instead of going to work. So it's gonna take a little bit to get back on track. So I would really just say the flexibility and trying to, put ourselves in their shoes and just try to come together to help in some way.
Thank you, Michelle. John, new technique or best practice at RC Willey that wasn't in place before that you may keep on doing?
Yeah, we, like I said, we did by appointment only for some of our customers, and we're going to keep that. And you can go on our website right now and set an appointment for a time and a thing that you're looking at, and we're going to even take it one step further. We have put bios and pictures of all of our sales associates, so the customer can actually pick and choose who they want to work with. Perhaps they've had a referral or whatever, but there's bios of all of these my sales associates, that we're going to keep this appointment, this ability to make an appointment to come shop when it's convenient for you. Even if it's a little bit before, because we still have reduced hours right now. We're open 11 to 8, when our normal hours were 10 to 9. And people can set appointments, and if they want to come in early between 10 and 11, they can. And it's kind of a good thing that we're going to keep around. We're also going to keep our will call procedure, our customer pickup procedure, of a touchless kind of thing, where you don't have to get out of your car and go into the office. You can just call the number and we'll come out and serve you. And we're also going to keep the ability to do garage drop-offs as a free service. That's not as good as getting all the furniture set up and hooked up and installed, and your appliances installed and all your garbage taken away, that we do with our Blue Rewards memberships here at RC Willey. But for that customer that just doesn't have a truck to get something home, we'll drop it off in their garage, and they can take it from there. So we're going to keep that as well. So thanks.
Thanks, John. Deneen, new technique or best practice with Zions?
You bet. I think one of our best practices as COVID-19 hit our community is quickly we recognized it was going to have an adverse financial impact on many of our business customers. So at the very beginning of this, we proactively started reaching out and really just discussing what options might be there, what alternative payment options that is. So just kind of trying to stay in front of it as much as possible. Moving from there, I think we've also, a best practice would be the emphasis we've placed on reaching out to our customers and really educating them on the various mediums of banking. It doesn't have to be in the lobby or the drive-through. Through mobile banking, online banking, and our ATMs, many of their services can be handled. So I think that education piece will certainly continue in terms of our outreach moving forward.
Thank you. Joey, United Heritage, new technique, best practice to better serve your customers or clients.
I think the biggest thing for us, as I mentioned, we've been traditionally an in-person sort of organization with our agents, our brokers, and those customers as well. And so through all of this, providing a means for those services to continue in a safe manner, we increased honestly our reach and capabilities by utilizing several different collaboration online tools. So even being able to, where we traditionally traveled to have conversations with individuals, having Microsoft Teams available so that outside participants can take part in those things in a very easy way to do that, has allowed us a lot more connectivity than we had originally anticipated. And I think we'll continue to utilize that in hybrid with those in-person conversations that we've had in the past. Also allowing our customer base to conduct business online, essentially. So, especially with our life insurance products where they're used to signing documentation in person, having hard copies, being able to provide those electronically to them so that those can be handled in a touchless way and also in a very swift way has been a big opportunity in that area. So I think we're going to continue to leverage some of those capabilities as we move forward to look at what types of services we can provide in excess of what we will traditionally continue to do as well with that in-person contact when it becomes safe again to do so.
Thank you, Joey. Tiffany, new technique or best practice that you may continue that wasn't in place before?
Well, out of necessity, we had to get creative on the marketing side, which is my job. And so we just introduced a new season pass sale, and it was hugely successful and well received by our customers. We offered for the first time ever a $99.99 season pass, good for the rest of this summer and all of next summer. And we had a season pass flash sale for just 3 days. And we sold almost as many season passes as in 3 days as we traditionally do in an entire year. And so that was really, really important to us, really exciting for us to be able to have the revenue to get through the winter, and people loved it. So that new $99.99 price point at this point in the summer will probably be here to stay as an ongoing new sale.
Thank you. We'll stay with you for the next question. Specific to your industry, what do you see as opportunities or threats to operating under our current conditions? You can focus on either an opportunity or a threat.
The amusement industry has obviously been among the very hardest hit in the world. And Roaring Springs benefits from the fact that we are very local. More than 90% of our guests are local. Most of our guests come within a 2-hour drive. And so people don't have to get on an airplane to come and visit our park. It's more of a staycation, just a fun one-day vacation that you can go and sort of be socially distanced from your neighbors and not from people who have come here from all over the globe. It has been an advantage to us, but a very distinct disadvantage to our partner parks across the country that are theme parks and resorts that do rely on tourism as destinations. So it's worked for us, has not worked well for other theme parks and resorts.
Okay. Joey, specific to the insurance industry, what do you see as an opportunity or threat under the new conditions, current conditions?
Well, with our organization, we're licensed to do business in 49 states, and with that comes individual compliance requirements with each state, as well as enhanced requirements from the states in which we're domiciled. So we're domiciled both in Idaho and Oregon. And so we have to, it's a balancing act to make sure that we can stay on top of all of those requirements that are coming in, and they were rapidly coming in very early on with specific individualized requests that we needed to provide information to in a very short time frame. And so that's been a definite learning curve for us to get something in place that helps us address each of those requirements so that we can stay in compliance with each state that we do business. The other thing for an opportunity for us, as I mentioned, with a lot of the online capabilities, the customer adoption of remote and online access is, it's here to stay. And we're seeing that trend grow in our industry. And so I think some of the things that we've implemented and are implementing we'll continue to build on because we see that coming. And the other thing that we see really as an opportunity is relooking at our workforce strategy. We're taking a hard look at what makes sense for us as an organization, where we've in the past thought to ourselves, no, we have to be in the office to do our jobs. And in the last 5 months, we've proven that wrong. And so what makes sense for us going forward as an organization that we can still foster that culture that's so important to us as an organization, to us as individual employees, but still be able to provide that flexibility, enhance productivity, and work in a new paradigm. So we are taking a hard look at what makes sense for us as an organization, whether it's in office, remote, or a hybrid of those.
Thank you, Joey. Deneen, specific to the financial world, banking industry, what do you see as opportunities or threats under the current conditions?
Well, certainly as small businesses continue to operate through this crisis, banks are going to need to stay nimble and adaptable in quickly meeting their needs. One example of that, of course, is the Paycheck Protection Program. That program was rolled out quite quickly, was changing frequently, sometimes even hourly. And Zions Bank, among others, had to step up quickly to maneuver through that process. We were able to do that, and fortunately, we were able to help 2,300 businesses throughout that for about $257 million in PPP loans in the state of Idaho alone. But this is not going away, and to help keep our community vibrant, it's important for banks to act quickly as the federal government considers additional stimulus funding for small businesses, perhaps. there could be more. And so I think it's just really important for us as an industry to be able to respond to those opportunities and to help our small businesses moving forward.
Okay, thank you. John, I'll give you an opportunity to answer this, but also we had someone from the attendee list wanted you to maybe speak specifically to the inventory availability and shortages going forward in the near future. That may be an opportunity or a threat that you see as well.
Well, I was actually going to talk about that, which is good. So the opportunity for my industry, obviously, is with people not going on vacations and spending a lot of money on entertainment or going somewhere, and we've spent a heck of a lot of time in our homes, we've kind of realized that we could make our homes a little nicer. Maybe the couch has got a few too many holes in it, or maybe we need a new desk to have a home office. And so we've seen those opportunities come up, and our business model is kind of unique in our industry, is where we buy all of our inventory. We don't buy it on credit. We own it. We don't have any debt that way. And so the advantage to us is now that some of these factories that had closed down, because quite frankly, all of the supply chain from all around the world was disrupted in some way. In fact, I'll give you some numbers which are kind of interesting. This is just in the United States. Whirlpool Corporation has 1 million pieces on back order, and that's not dollars, just 1 million pieces. So a million refrigerators on back order to all these people that are trying to buy them. General Electric is 800,000 pieces on back order. And so the supply chain is tough. Lack of raw materials, lack of shipping. A lot of the shipping comes from overseas. And even if we have several manufacturers that build sofas right here in the United States and California and in North Carolina, they don't have all the raw materials they need to put spring units in them, or they don't have the fabrics, or they don't have the foam to make the cushions. And so all of those things are really tough. Our advantage, I guess, is the fact that because we pay our bills and because we don't make the manufacturer float us alone when we buy their products from them, we have been able to kind of rise to the top and get more than some of our other competitors or would get in the furniture industry. But it is a challenge, and we're probably going to be chasing stock for the next several months. But here's kind of an interesting tidbit too. We get a lot of containers from overseas, and I just was on a call a little earlier. Our biggest month ever as a company receiving containers has been 505 containers in a month. And that is a lot at our distribution center down in Salt Lake. We have one in California too. But the next month alone, we have over 800 scheduled to come in. So, a full 300 higher than our biggest month ever in the history of our company. And so we have a lot of stuff coming because we have enjoyed paying our bills. And those companies that are trying to sell it, they need cash too. They need cash. And since we were able to get them some cash, they were able to send us the product they had. So the threat is the fact that it's hard. It's hard to get stuff in. The opportunity is that we're able to get some stuff in, and the customer has money to spend for things because they're not doing some of the other things that they normally do. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Michelle, specific to your industry, what do you see as an opportunity or a threat operating in the current condition?
I think moving forward, we will still continue to look at the future of the work at Idaho Power. For example, what does remote work look like, and when does it make sense, and where there are operational efficiencies? Some of that still needs to be determined. I think most of the people on this panel are probably going through a similar evaluation. In general, I think COVID in many ways has been a tipping point, whether it's been families who are just satisfied with the crazy life of the big city they've been living in, wasting hours a day commuting, or businesses that were concerned with regulations or unfriendly tax environment. I feel that COVID is pushing people over the edge to look at mid-sized cities like Meridian, places where they want to relocate. I'm sure all of you know we're seeing a significant amount of folks coming out of California, Washington, and Oregon, mostly out of the Portland, Seattle area, that are looking to be a part of what our community has to offer, just a better pace of life. That certainly holds true on the business side. Over the last couple of months, we've continued to see an influx of new business development activity, more along the lines of manufacturing and processing space. I believe there's opportunity for us to grow, and obviously on the same hand, that's a potential threat, just from a standpoint of are we prepared to accommodate that growth? And that's something we're looking at from an Idaho Power perspective to ensure that our energy infrastructure is well positioned to accommodate future growth. We continue to have regular conversations with Victoria Cleary, the Economic Development Administrator for the City of Meridian, just to discuss the future Meridian, the commercial and the industrial development side of things, and how we're prepared to accommodate the future growth while staying aligned with the city's vision. You want the infrastructure in place, but at the same time, you need the growth in the customer base to be able to adjust to that infrastructure. So I think just carefully working with the city to make sure we are aligned and moving in a common direction.
Thank you, Michelle. Cheryl, for your manufacturing specific to your industry, what do you see as opportunities or threats under the current conditions?
Thank you. I think one of the opportunities that we have is because we do so much in-house, so much manufacturing, our capabilities between our CNC machines, our die cutting machines, our assembly line. We do so much under one roof that we've had a lot of opportunities to be able to kind of pivot and continue to help the medical industry by manufacturing things that we typically would not. So that's a great opportunity that we've had. We've both been able to help internationally, as well as we've been able to provide face masks and stuff to some of our local volunteers, to some of our local community, which has been a great opportunity. I think very similar to John and RC Willie is, supply chain has definitely been a threat for us. Being able to meet our customer shipping expectations and making sure that our deliveries are on time has been a challenge. A lot of our commodities, because we are a high mix custom manufacturer, a lot of our suppliers are custom components and custom design, which we've had to make sure that our open communication with our suppliers. What is their business being faced with? Is there a potential of them shutting down and not opening back up? What's their workforce look like? So from a supply chain standpoint, we've really had to stay open communication, because if we had one of those suppliers that do custom build one of a very, a high risk component, we could completely shut down. And with most of our products, 99% of our products are FDA certified. To change suppliers or change resources from that standpoint is extremely difficult and extremely expensive, both from PKG standpoint as well as our customers to have to get FDA certified again. So that's been one of our biggest challenges, is making sure that we have, the open communication, making sure that our supplies and that our deliveries are on time. And with the shutdowns, we've had a lot of commodities push out, as well as we've had several, probably a handful of customers that have shut down and are not reopening. So we've had to scramble to recertify a new supplier, which has been extremely lengthy and time consuming. So I think, moving forward, some of the things that we're going to do to, kind of combat some of those threats that we've seen is making sure from the beginning of a project that we do have multiple suppliers qualified for a project, and we have alternative sources mapped out. So if, in the future, because we don't know what's going to happen once PPP or EDIL loans or whatever, in the next 6 months, what potential for ongoing threats that we have for those special commodities that, we're looking at certifying and qualifying suppliers now, if that potential threat becomes in the next 6 months to even a year.
Thank you, Cheryl. Chris, specific to your industry, what do you see as opportunities or threats operating in the current conditions? I know here at the Chamber, we're taking an average of 5 calls or visits a day for people who are looking to relocate to the area.
Yeah, that's definitely the opportunity. We're seeing record-breaking month after record-breaking month of new transactions. All of our builder developer customers have been ramping up, doing double, triple production year over year in new homes. So people, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, so
Hello? Hey, I'm here.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. People are definitely seeing Boise as a place, or Meridian, or really our whole market to move to and get away from the bigger cities. Anybody can see that. So that's a big opportunity with all the craziness going on in the world. We've had a really good community that has come together through this and shown our true colors. And it's attractive to the rest of our geographic location to move here. The biggest threat is the health of our employees. We've had one of our smaller offices had COVID go through it, and we had to basically shut that office down for a week, reassign files, move things to an already stressed and burdened team. And I was just thankful that it was a smaller office. We had a competitor that had one of their larger offices have a bunch of cases come through, and they had to close down. And that is a huge threat to losing business and to disrupting the home buying process when we're the end of it all and can't make that happen. So definitely the biggest threat is still the health of our employees and being able to keep our doors open and operating and not having an infection come through the office.
Thank you, Chris. With that, we're at the end of our scheduled questions. I asked the one question that I saw pop up in the chat window. If you have any more, please get that in right away. Okay. Don't see any coming in there. I want to thank all of our panelists again for joining us today. This was a great discussion. I learned a little bit more about your businesses and the fact that you're dealing with this just as everyone else is, and coming up with some creative and innovative ways of tackling the challenges that you face and adapting, pivoting and to the world that we're living in today. I want to once again thank TDS Fiber for sponsoring this 2-part series, and want to say have a great rest of your week, and remember to keep Meridian healthy and open for business. Thank you all for joining us today.
Hey, Sean.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.